Hey there guys, today we're going back to school, so stick around. Hey everybody, I'm Rachel from PencilStash, a weekly show about adult coloring, colored pencils, tips, and tricks. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, or better yet, that bell button to be notified when I've uploaded new content. And if you're enjoying my videos, please do me a huge favor and give me a big thumbs up. It helps new folks find my channel. So I'm very, very excited. I just got Romantic Country's third tale in the mail from Amazon. It is actually my favorite series of coloring books, and I'd love to share some of it with you guys. So I'm going to be doing a quick flip through so that you can kind of see all the pages, see what to expect out of this book. Again, it's one of my favorite series. Definitely highly recommend it. And then we'll get into doing a page from it. So let's head over to my desk and we'll get started. All right, here she is, Romantic Country's third tale by Eriy? I have no idea. I'll start at the back here just because it's easier to flip the pages. They've got these really neat, like cut out, like 3D stage kind of scenes that you can do. It's really cool. Might be fun for the kids. And just got a whole bunch of different themes here. There's a lot of dragons. There's a lot, actually, of these like Halloween kind of Harry Potter looking themes. Some pumpkins, some witches. I'm really excited to do this little dragon egg page on the right here. This is neat. And then we go to mermaids. Kind of jumps all over the place, but it doesn't really matter to me. Fairies. This page is super cute. I can't wait to do both of these, especially this one on the right here. Little maypole action. This one on the left is so cute. I've seen other folks do this one and I'm excited. It's kind of similar to the manor house that I've done in previous videos. This one's super cute with all these signs. That's definitely going to be one I do soon. Little picnic theme on the right. I love this like stateroom in a ship scene. Really, really cute. Definitely doing that one. Here's all the kind of tickets, little carriage. I like these little backgrounds on the left here. Very folk art. Little spices and herbs and these Moroccan lamps. This particular Romantic Country might have the most pages that I'm super excited to do out of all of the series. This little section here is really neat. It's kind of like Nordic / Arabic. It's really neat. Kind of costumey stuff. Then we've got some circus pages. I love this little library one. The kitty curled up on the sofa, on the chair. This schoolhouse page is the one we're going to be doing today. I love the blackboard. I love this little cupboard with all the china. That one's going to be fun. Little flower cart. Some barnyard themes, palace themes. Yeah, like I said, it just kind of jumps all over the place. But every single page is so cute. Love these little bits and pieces on this page, little pots and boots and toys. Then in the front here, there's a lot of Christmas pages, which I'm definitely going to save for later in the year. I love this one here, this little street scene. Some more maps. And then a little bit more story, kind of tells you a little bit about the characters and their journey. And then something that I have never noticed before, but each of the romantic country books inside the jacket actually have a scene. It's a page from within the book, but it's on the mid-tone dark paper, which will make all of your kind of lighter colors pop. So I'm definitely going to be doing the front and the back cover here in a video coming up really soon. And that's it. So if you don't have this one, definitely highly recommend it. You can find it on Amazon, and I'll put a link to it down in the show notes. Here's the page we're going to be doing today. This is a little kind of schoolhouse scene with this awesome chalkboard, and I'm actually really excited to do this chalkboard. And if you ever kind of Google or see chalkboards, they're never completely black. They're always sort of cloudy and a little bit, white from all of the erasing. So we're going to use the entire complement of our Prismacolor warm grays. And I'm going to start with the warm gray 10%, and I'm just going to put this down in some kind of random areas, and I'm trying not to have too many lines showing here. So if you'll notice, I'm holding my pencil back kind of about halfway, and I'm using very light pressure because, again, I don't want there to be very kind of visible lines. Now I'll go to my warm gray 20%. And I'm basically just going to be working lightest to darkest. And that'll just kind of give me a lot of flexibility with where I want to place the darker colors. I can kind of gauge a little bit better if I need it darker, lighter, by starting here with the lights. And right now I'm just kind of surrounding the areas that I used the 10% gray on, just so that there'll be a nice smooth transition from the lights to the darks. And then I'm also kind of using this in new places where I didn't put that 10% at all, just to make sure that there's a nice range of that kind of cloudy finish on this chalkboard. Now I'll go in with my 30% and I'll do the exact same thing. Kind of surround the 20%, the 10%, and then put it in some new areas. And you'll see again, I'm holding it about halfway back, just really light pressure. I'm kind of going at a diagonal, left to right, and I am noticing that I'm getting a little bit of lines on this, so I might kind of try to feather these out a little bit more than I have been, just so that I get a nice smooth blend. Now I'll go in with my 50% warm gray. Again, just doing the same thing, just kind of adding, layering, surrounding these other colors that I've already put down. And if you'll notice on a chalkboard, people rarely chalk at the edges. So they'll mainly kind of chalk in the middle and kind of outward, but never right up against the edges. So if you Google a picture of a chalkboard or look up a picture of a used chalkboard, you'll notice that it's actually darker around the edges because you're not erasing chalk from those areas quite so much. So I'll be saving most of my dark colors for these edges. Warm gray 70%. Going around the edges here. Really trying to keep these edges nice and feathered, which means really light edges so that when those colors all kind of blend together, that there's not a really harsh transition. And I don't know if anybody's noticed the color chart next to me here. I actually found this color chart on a website, and I'll be sharing it down in the show notes with you guys. And it's the entire 150 Prismacolor set. And it's really nice to have kind of at your side when you're coloring. I always have scratch paper as well, but it's really nice to say, okay, you know, I want to do something in red, but I don't quite know which red I want. So instead of grabbing all of your reds and kind of testing them out, or maybe not even testing them out and just using one because you think it's going to work, but then, you know, maybe it's not quite what you were looking for, this sort of gives you a really clear indication of, hey, this is a dark red, this is an orangey red, this is a pinkish red. And if you notice the circles on the left half of the circle, I've used really light pressure. And then on the right half, I've actually used full pressure. So you can kind of see what the effect is that you're going to get. And I'm actually noticing now this lantern, I totally forgot about it. So I want to really have that nice light glow from the lantern reflecting here on the chalkboard. So I'm going to stop with my grays and I'm just going to put in a little bit of this cream color and just give it a little bit of an outline so that I can go back in later and complete this warm glow that I'm going to get from this lantern. Because if I start putting all my dark colors on here right off the bat, it's gonna get a little bit muddy. So because of the kind of dome on top of this lantern, it's gonna sort of cast a very circular glow. So I'm just gonna do a very nice outline here in the cream color and this sand color to just kind of have it be a little bit of a placeholder until I come back and really clean it up after I'm done with the chalkboard. And maybe just a little bit of this canary yellow. All right, we'll put those aside. And just a nice little placeholder. And now I go back in with my warm gray 70% and finish up what I was working on. So again, you'll see I've got kind of these darker colors here on the edges. And then I'm going to go back into the middle here and add some of my darker grays as well. You could totally color this black and it would look just fine, but if you do kind of all of these layers and all these different colors, it'll just give it that little extra bit of character and kind of that look that it's been well loved. Now with my darkest warm gray, this is the 90% warm gray. And I'm just going to do the same thing I've been doing, just adding this layer, especially here in these corners and along my edges. I'm going to go back in with my warm gray 10%. And I know this looks patchy now, but I'm just going to blend some of these kind of more visible lines. Just going to try to feather them out just so that I don't see them. It should look very erased, very cloudy, very kind of chalky. And I'm just getting a little bit too many visible lines here. So I'm just going to use this 10% to kind of act as a little bit of a light blender, just to kind of feather out some of these lines. Now I am going to go in with my blender and just see how this does too, just to get rid of some more of these lines. And I'm just using very, very light to medium pressure here, just so I'm not burnishing the paper. Because then I won't be able to add anything on top. Now back in with my warm gray 20%. And I'll try with my blender again. Now I'm going to be using kind of a circular motion because I'm not liking how these kind of visible lines are coming out. So I'm just going to use this kind of circular motion, really, really light pressure, and hopefully it'll kind of take away some of these lines. Just going to try to blend this out, see how that came out. Right, it's definitely looking more like I'm wanting it to. And now we'll go back in with our 90%, our darkest gray. And now in with our black, and I'm actually going to go over the whole chalkboard. And you might be saying to yourself, like, why did you spend all that time using these light colors if you're just going to cover it up with black? And it's a great question. But I'm actually going to be going over it with this black very, very lightly. And because I've already used my blender, because I've already used all these layers, it'll just kind of go and just kind of sit on top, and you're still going to be able to see a lot of these colors shining through. And we'll get that kind of cloudy look that we're going for. Now I'm going to go in with the blender. Just push all these lovely colors together. Just give it a little bit more of that cloudy look. All right, now let's do the chalkboard surround, and you guys have seen me do kind of the wood, the way that I do it a bunch of times, and I usually start with my dark umber, and I just kind of do a little bit of an outline. I highlight all of the grain lines that the artist has already given us. And I do kind of use this one as well to shade in some areas. Like I'll have it be a little bit thicker in some areas and a little bit skinnier in some areas. Now I'm going to go in with my chocolate, and I'm just going to choose a couple areas like under this chalk ledge here to shadow. Just to give that wood grain a little bit more interest, I'll add it in some of these other places as well. Now I'll go back in with my dark umber for some more shadows. And finally with my light umber, this is what I like to kind of fill it in with. And this light umber, I don't know what it is about these particular colors, but they really marry really well together. This is a look that I really like, and I think that these colors go well together. And this light umber is not only filling in our areas, but it's also acting as a little bit of a blender to kind of soften some of the lines that we've put in with our dark umber. Just kind of pushes those out a little bit to blend it all together. All right, my light umber is getting a little bit short. Just to kind of hold it more comfortably, I'm going to grab my pencil extender, and it's just a piece of wood here with a little bit of a holder on the front end. Kind of reminds me of like an old cigarette holder, and it just allows for more comfortable use when some of your pencils are getting short. So I've got one. You can buy as many as you want to for your short pencils, but I've got one because it's really easy just to kind of swap the shorties in and out. And now it's a lot more comfortable to hold. All right, now I'm just going to add just a little bit more shadow here with my espresso. And now I will blend it. All right, so here is our semi-finished chalkboard. And if you notice, I love the letters that are here, but they're black, which chalk is not black. So I'm actually going to go in with my UNI-POSCA white fine tip marker, and which is a wonderful opaque matte marker, so it'll sit very nicely on top of these. And I'm just going to sort of outline all of these little scratchy letters here with my paint pen. So it'll give a little bit more look of a chalkboard. So it'll look a lot more like a real chalkboard. All right, let's do the teacher's desk. And I really like these greens here. Just kind of reminds me of an old schoolhouse. So I'm going to take my dark green, and very similar to the chalkboard surround, the wood chalkboard surround, I'm going to outline the grain here in the lines that the artist has given us in my dark green. Now I'll go in with my lime peel, and I'm just going to put this in just a couple of places, and kind of those places where you think that the light will hit it, and this will sort of act as our highlight, using really light pressure. Now I'll go in with marine green, just kind of pick some areas to add this to. This is one of my favorite greens. Now in with my olive green, just to add some layers here. I'm going to add a shadow underneath this lip and along the side here. And I'm leaving the slime peel area relatively alone, but I am sort of transitioning it outward and just really, really lightly going over it with this olive. Artichoke. Just adding it in a couple of places here just to give it a little bit more variation of color, make it look more weathered. Now I'll go in and kind of nick up the corners and add a little bit of shadow here with my espresso. Now I'll blend it all together, and you can kind of see it looks really muddy and kind of crazy looking right now, but once you blend this, this is going to look really, really nice. And this is the power of this blender. All right, guys, that is it for today. I'm going to leave our page as it is right here just because this one's gone on for quite a bit, and I like to do as much as I can in real time for you. So we'll definitely be coming back to this page one day, but I really wanted to highlight how I did the chalkboard just because I've never really covered that before, but we'll definitely come back to this one again. I hope that you liked the video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. I really appreciate that, and don't forget to subscribe. It helps new folks find my channel. Let's take a look at this week's featured work from Facebook and Instagram. This week's featured work is actually all from our Facebook coloring group's One Color Challenge. And this was basically, you could pick any page that you wanted, but you had to use one particular color, but you could use any pencil in that range of color. So I picked some of the ones that I really thought were very inventive, added a lot of texture. And thanks to Leslie for suggesting that and organizing it. Really great work this week, guys. That was a really fun challenge. If you too want to submit your work, you can go onto Facebook and submit via our PencilStash Adult Coloring Group Facebook page. We have a wonderful, wonderful community of very talented artists there who like to share their work and share stories about supplies and coloring books, all sorts of things. It's really fun. Or you can submit on Instagram using the hashtag PencilStash. All right, then, we are done for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next time.